Can WWE pull things off with Jey Uso? What I mean is long term. Jey Uso is one of the cornerstone pieces of Monday Night Raw, since the whole story arc of the Bloodline has, for the moment, taken a little bit of a break. He is featured every single week in backstage segments, in banger matches week after week, going after the world title, going now after the Intercontinental Championship. And Jey Uso as a character, as a performer, has such an awesome range. Being able to go very, very serious, or just making people giggle on camera, trying to flirt it up with Rhea Ripley. He's such a well-rounded character, and it's amazing to see that after his 15-year career with WWE, being in a tag team forever, that he has broken out, and because of the entire storyline we got of Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and the Bloodline for years, it's helped propel him to this level where Jey Uso is Main Event Jey Uso, where he is a single superstar that people want to see. Jey Uso's merchandise is one of the top sellers for WWE, and you could see with him overall, WWE obviously loves having him, and he performs at such a high level. But my question is, can they pull off Main Event Jey Uso as a true main eventer? Since WrestleMania 40, I haven't always loved what they've done with Jey Uso, because every PLE that he has been on, every big match, title match, he's lost. And that's okay, because it can further his story. He can try to get his win back, but I wonder if there is a little bit of a tipping point with the WWE fans for their love and admiration for Jey Uso. Meaning, if he continues to lose all the time, are fans going to eventually get a little tired of it? Because he's not winning the big match, the big moment. He couldn't capture the world title. He had a very short tag team title reign with Cody Rhodes. He's gone after the Intercontinental title before. He's gone after the world title. And right now, he's going after the Intercontinental title against Braun Breaker. Now, the thing is for me, Jey Uso winning the tournament to become #1 contender for the IC title, it seemed almost like a foregone conclusion the way they set it up. And I thought it had been an okay build. I'm very much a fan of Braun Breaker and what he has done since coming to main roster. WWE clearly loves him, and he is just outperforming every single week in my opinion. So this feud, while seemed okay on paper, it really got taken up a notch for me this past week on Raw. Jey Uso always gets massive crowd reactions when he comes out, some of the biggest in WWE. And when he got face to face with Braun Breaker and they started going back and forth, I got to see Jey Uso transform a little bit more into more of a serious version of Jey. The one that I see when we watch storylines with the Bloodline and Jey Uso and Roman Reigns and Jimmy. And it's that range of character that I really like. And I got to see that on Raw, and it felt like such a breakout moment. And those two do seem to have pretty good chemistry together. And because of that single promo, it made me want to see Jey Uso as Intercontinental Champion. Now, what do you think? Do you think that WWE will pull the trigger on Jey, make him Intercontinental Champion, whether it's now or down the road? What do you think Jey Uso's story is going to be? Can WWE pull this off? Because one of my concerns is Jey Uso loses the Intercontinental title match against Braun Breaker. Maybe it doesn't hurt his popularity by any means in the near future, but if he doesn't start capturing titles and getting to that level, I feel like it can damage him as a character where fans are happy to see Jey on TV, but they know that he's probably going to lose. Or is WWE simply taking their time with Jey Uso? Seems like a silly thing to say because it's like, well, we've had 4 years of Bloodline Jey Uso, him main eventing pay-per-views, seen him break out as a single star on Raw, being in the PLEs as a single star. But are they taking a long road with this to see how things shake out with Bloodline 2.0, with that storyline? Do we see the reunion of Jimmy and Jey and Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn at some point this year? Jey Uso in the Intercontinental title division, I think, is an awesome spot for him. But I do think that he needs to capture that belt. Maybe not on Raw, but it would be an amazing surprise. But maybe they do it down the road and he finally overcomes the odds against Braun Breaker, giving us a few months of Jey Uso with the singles title. Because if they build him correctly with the Intercontinental title, getting that workhorse title, and Braun Breaker himself, he can get it back in a couple of months too. But if they play with that and they see what happens with Jey as a singles champion, kind of like LA Knight, where it took LA Knight a long time to capture the United States Championship, despite being incredibly over with the crowd since he he was no longer Max Dupree and became LA Knight once again. But LA Knight, he was getting the singles programs with Roman Reigns. He was getting big matches and they were building him, but it took almost 2 years for LA Knight to get to the United States Championship where he is today. Jey Uso could be on a similar path as a single star. If built correctly, in the next year, looking at the Royal Rumble, going into WrestleMania 42, Jey Uso could be a contender to win the Rumble, going after the world title. But before all of that, it would be really cool if Jey wins the Intercontinental title and starts racking up big singles wins as champion to give us those moments of Roman and Jey finally seeing each other once again, and Roman Reigns looking at the person as the character that Jey Uso has become now, where he's standing out on his own. He's broken away from the bloodline. Where I feel Jey Uso could be hurt a little bit in all of this, in his whole story arc, is going back with the bloodline and going back to that story to be kind of a supporting cast member. One of my concerns is that we do get the War Games match. New bloodline versus old bloodline. The reunion of Roman and Jimmy and Jey and maybe even Sammy. And you throw Cody Rhodes in there too. But reason why I'm worried about that is it pivots Jey away from everything that he's working towards as a single star today. And does he enter War Games as Intercontinental Champion? Hey, you know what? Bloodline reunion, it'll be a cool moment and a cool piece of the story. Fans want to see it. I want to see it. But I worry that it would deter him overall as a single star, and then WWE has to veer him back into the whole singles element after Survivor Series. And you're basically looking at the Royal Rumble from there. Could it be done? Absolutely. They can make up any story they want to with all of this. But because the Bloodline story, The Rock, Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, all of it is the biggest story of WWE, the reunion between Jimmy and Jey is something that we want to see and we need to see at some point. But will Jey get wrapped back into the entire Bloodline story arc for the rest of the year? It could be amazing storytelling, but for some fans, they look at Jey Uso and want him to be that single star. They want him to win the Intercontinental title. They want him to go after the world title. And I don't think WWE is going to help him if they keep having him lose in these big main event matches. And speaking of a main event match, that Intercontinental Championship match, Braun Breaker, Jey Uso, after that promo we talked about on Monday Night Raw, I really wish that was going to be at the PLE. I wish that that match was going to be at Bad Blood. I am more excited about Jey versus Braun than I am about Sammy versus Gunther, because that one seems like a very much a foregone conclusion. However, putting Jey Uso and Braun Breaker main event on Raw for the IC title right now with how that story is positioned, that feels like a giant main event match for Raw. And if they put the title on Jey, the crowd reaction is going to be insane. But I do wish we would see more matches on the PLEs. Get your Intercontinental Champion at the PLE. What's great about Jey Uso too is that he is such a diverse character in terms of being able to put him in a tag team with Cody Rhodes and fans loving it, having him go off and be a single star, being in a tag team with his brother, being in the storyline of the Bloodline, having singles matches against world champions like Roman Reigns, and making it all work and believable. Or just mixing it up with Judgment Day and being silly and goofy. But I worry that WWE will detour Jey Uso's progress with the Bloodline story. As necessary and fun as it may be, I still worry that that is going to be a moment where it will take him away for the rest of the year from everything he was trying to build up to this point. But maybe not. Maybe we all just assume it's Bloodline, War Games, Survivor Series. Probably is. But maybe they're not doing that, or they're not gonna pull the trigger just yet on a traditional Bloodline versus Bloodline at War Games, and it's something different, keeping Jey Uso separate from the Bloodline story for the rest of this year. And maybe it's something they explore next year, maybe when he's Intercontinental Champion, or maybe even World Champion. If WWE can pull this off with Jey Uso, getting him the Intercontinental Championship, making him truly a main event player on WWE's Monday Night Raw, the thing you gotta do after that is give him some challengers, proper challengers. And I think they have more room to play with that on Raw, with the likes of Braun Breaker, all of Judgment Day that he's been mixing it up with, potentially Gunther once again. Down the road, you bring up more NXT talent, Bronson Reed as well. But if you can get Jey Uso a level higher and having those singles runs with guys like Seth Rollins, going back after Gunther, and if there's drafts and changes to the roster, the likes of a heel Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, people that he has history with as well. Jey Uso being one of the most popular stars in WWE right now is awesome. The question is, can they pull it off and make his stock go even higher? And will he actually get into some of the PLE main events? So if you want to talk about that and those main event matches that we could see for the rest of the year, click this video right here and have yourself a great day. See ya.